All right, it's Friday. It was morning when I left. It's no longer morning. We've been going for a while. It's supposed to get into the 90s today. And man, I drug my feet, almost not wanting to go, but couldn't not. This is the area I tried to get in. I didn't post a video last week. I tried to get into this area last week on a horse, and there was just no way to get a horse into it. So I ended up bailing out about an hour in. I brought Zoe that time too, and she just wasn't doing good again, so I abandoned that idea. So I've been in here with just Honey today. Been going for a couple hours, and I finally got one that I can just see through the tree right there. Let me see if I can get you on what I saw. You see that tine? Just got lucky. It's right dead center, that one tine right there. Let's go over there and see what we got. Oh man, this looks good. It looks like it might be a brownie. Might be one of the big fives I'm looking for. Look at that, Honey. Look at that. Look at that, good girl. Nice 5-point. It's here on this flat. Been working a bunch of these, knowing that if I just kept pushing, eventually one of them would have some antlers on it, or an antler on it. So let's see if we can't, and all this crap, these draws and that stuff, see if we can't match that up. I think, yeah, definitely a brown, but not one of the fives I was looking for. Not one of the ones I'm looking for. Shrinking on me, but I'm still super stoked about that. Finding a brownie in here. I'm down low enough now. I know where the bulls dropped this year, so I'll leave that one there and see if I can't match them up. We got number 2. There you go, Honey. Good girl. Good girl. Boy, he's wimpy on the second and third, but it's all right. All the miles we're putting in, we'll take what we can get. Kind of a cool bull. Anyway, here's number 2. Look at this little guy. Pretty nice little mono. Must be a little sight here in the sand. Just kind of glassing all this stuff right here out in front of me, trying to turn up another antler before I turn around and start heading back. I'll let you know what I find. Alright, let me show you this just because this is extremely unusual. So what we have here, you can see this band right here is not natural. It was pecked in there. Obvious all the way around. But what's odd about this is most hammers are not sandstone like this, they're hard stone. You can see that this one was used mainly on this end here, that'd be the pole end. But would have had a wrapping of a branch or something around there, some rawhide or something to bind it. But those are unusual because those wouldn't last. A sandstone rock would just break into pieces without a lot of use, so they weren't used very often. It's kind of neat to find that. There's the best girl. There's a good dog. Bring it here. Good girl. We'll get it again. We'll get it again. Just a little tune-up before we get out where we're going. Good girl. Helps remember what we're doing. So it's just Honey and I this morning. Load up. And we're gonna go see if we can't get into some sheds today. And hopefully have a good enough day that I can put out a video for you guys. So stay with me. This video, if I find anything today, will include the last couple of weeks because I've gone out. I just haven't found enough that I would want to put together a video yet. Found a few decent antlers, but need to have a little something more for you. So hoping that we'll do that today. Here we go. All right, we're working this trail here. I've been up on the top, and it's clear that, at least as far as I've seen the, I don't know, hour and a half that I've been hiking up there, I don't think the elk were this high this year, so I actually stumbled on this trail. It looks like it's taking me to the bottom. So I thought, if they weren't up this high this year, they were this last year and the year before, they're going to be either on this trail when they shed, coming up, or they're going to be down below. And sure enough, right here off the trail, got the first antler of the day. Let's see what we got. Looks like it's got good tine length on a younger bull. 5 point, I think. Good girl, honey. Get it. Get it. Get it. Get it. Get it. Bring it here. Good girl. Bring it. Come on. You can do it. Good girl. Look at that. They're hard to carry, huh? Would have been a 6. He's a little chewed on that back end. But, yeah, we're on the board. Looks like a hard white. It's probably laid here for 2 years, but in that shade, it's no cracking on this side, really on the other. So it's either a year or 2 years old. My guess is 2 years, because it's just going to not hit the sun real hard in here. But either way, there's a start, and we're on the right path. I guess that this was probably the path that the bulls are using to get from the high levels to the low levels. And we'll see if we can't turn up some more antlers, either on this path or down below, maybe some browns. Where is it? Go find it. There you go. There you go. Good girl. Bring it here. There we go. We found what elk said she could bring. There you go. Good girl. Good girl. Little brownie raghorn. Good dog. Good dog. Look at that. Good girl. Little teeny guy. Well, at least the little guys were up here when they shed. We dropped all the way to the bottom and came back up and finally got number 2, little Raggy. All right, some of you are going to get a kick out of this. I'm just walking. I'm just working this flat right here. Going to get up onto some benches. I was walking along and look at this. Look at that. That thing's been washing out for a long time to be that far up off the ground. See how high that is up on that little pedestal? Oh, that's a nice little point right there. I can't tell if the stem is broken. Seems like it should be, because that's an awful short stem. Let's look at it. Well, hang on. All right, so let's look at it. See what we can tell. So yeah, the stem, I believe, was broken. It probably would have been half again longer than that. It saw some resharpening from here up. So while it was hafted, they wouldn't have had access to this part down here, but they resharpened this and retipped it at one point. So this is actually, so you see how narrow the stem is here. This is actually an arrowhead because of how narrow that is. It's not an atlatl dart, but really big. So maybe transitional, like between atlatl. Maybe it was still maybe it's just a small atlatl shaft they used on this, because this would be really big to shoot as an arrowhead. That's a pretty good sized point. Kind of a coarser type of material right here, not some of the really fine grained stuff that we get, but that's a really nice point. without the notches and the stem being exact, I mean, I think this is probably in the 2,000 to 3,000 year old range based on what I can see here, and probably from the Cienega cluster of points, but it's hard to say for sure. It could be Dolores. I mean, if this actually came out and stemmed out a little bit, it could be a Dolores point, but that's pretty cool to find that, especially right here where I'm at. But all right, honey, let's go find some antlers. Good girl. Good girl. Good doggy. Good doggy. Good girl. There's a little 3. Good girl. There we go. We got one. Good girl. Good girl. There's a start for the day. It's the east wind. Can you see that? It's well over 100 degrees. Just me and Honey out here. We got another antler up here. See if Honey can. She's hot and tired and dry. I've been giving her most of the water. But we got an antler right here. Let's see what we got. Let's see what we got here. Looks like a decent one. There it is. Good girl. Good girl. Bring that here. Bring it here. Good girl. Good girl. 4 point. Good doggy. Good girl. Good girl. We have it. Good girl. Good girl. Good girl. Just a decent 4. A little chewing on the tips. Medium-sized buck. Good dog. Good dog. You're hot, huh? We're going to have to get out of here. I'd say it's probably about noon. 1 o'clock. I don't know. But she just can't take the heat out here. Even if I keep pouring water into her, it's too much. So we're going to have to start looping back. It'll be a couple hours yet. Maybe we'll stumble into a few more. Glad to see that one. Well, if you know where to look, even down here in the desert, you can get the dogs a drink. Good girl, Honey. That's good stuff. Yeah, it's hot. Alright, so I just got back from that shed hunt. I thought I'd show you real quick what I'm working on here in the shop. I've done a couple of blades of San Mai, a couple of hunters. This is an Elkhorn with turquoise, stainless guard, and San Mai with Hitachi blue number 2 steel in the center. There's a hidden tang one, and then I did one. This one right here that I'm working on right now is a full tang. This one's getting close to being done. I'm just about to find out how this Hawaiian koa is going to look. Always one of my favorite parts. So let's see what we got here. Yeah, it's going to be pretty. I don't know if you can see how much action that has in it. It's actually got a lot. It's hard to catch it on the camera, and it goes from light to dark. Not on the camera, but anyway, so it'll get a couple coats of this True Oil. Kind of bring out the grain. Yeah, that's going to be nice. Anyway, getting ready to put together the video. I thought I'd guys show you what a couple things that were coming out of my shop right now. So these two knives actually will be for sale. If you have any interest in them, go on to my Facebook page, William Arthur's Knives. I'm gonna try and get probably a half a dozen knives done before to put up for sale for hunting season. So if you want one, that's the best way to contact me. If this isn't what you're looking for while I'm doing stuff, it's easy for me to throw something in. Just get a hold of me and let me know what you're looking for. Whether it's a kitchen knife. Let me show you this kitchen knife right here. Look at this piece of gray oak. Hope you can see that. I love the grain on this. Was my last piece of this. I've been saving this piece for about 5 years. That's a kitchen chef's knife. I love working with cool wood. It's one of my favorite parts. Anyway, William Arthur's Knives, if you have any interest in one of them. Alright, here we go. Sanmai 16 layers with Hitachi blue steel core. There we go. Elkhorn antler. This one also same steel, same bar, full tang, mosaic pins, and Hawaiian koa. There we go. It's a nice piece of curly koa. One thing you always got to look for in this country, in these wash bottoms, is artifacts all go downhill too. And look at that. Look at that. Man. That almost looks like a paleo piece. That would be cool if that was whole. Oh man. That actually gets me a little excited. Let's see what we can do here. Let's see. Oh, it goes at least that far down. Well, here we go. Oh. Oh man. Just the little tip missing. So, that right there, for this area, extremely rare. It's probably a well-used paleo piece, which means 8,000 to 10,000 years old. I'll have to do some looking. I can't think of any. Now, I've been across basket maker site after basket maker site after basket maker site today as I've been walking, which is earlier than the Anasazi. It's like 3,500 to 2,500 years old. And I think this predates it, but I'll have to look. This almost looks like a Bajada that's used up, or it's not a plain view. My guess is Bajada, and it's a shame about that little tip, but still, that's a cool point. It's extremely rare in this area. I've seen very few of them. Only problem is we can't leave it here in the bottom of this wash or it'll disappear. So we are going to put it. We're going to put it someplace where it's going to be safe, at least for my lifetime. There you go, buddy. That one's got stories behind it. Washed down the creek, lost, thousands of years old. It could tell some stories. So, I've only seen one antler today, and it was so chalky I didn't even bother picking it up or touching it or looking at it or videoing it. I think there's going to be some in here. I'm seeing elk sign and deer sign. I'm thinking this could be a place that the elk would push down into on a year like this. I haven't really figured out where they've gone to. But I'm hoping to get into them today and have a good day for you and for me. Cross your fingers, wish me luck. It's been kind of slow the last few weeks. All right, finally. Been walking for a while, hours, and I saw another crusty base back here behind me, so I know I'm in an area where stuff's going to be shedding. I think I finally got an antler here, small 4. Not big, but starting to look a little better, starting to look up. Like I said, I'm in here thinking that the elk were in here this year, and there's definitely sign, but I could come up on elk or deer sheds anywhere in here. I think there's going to be some, so I'll just keep pushing. Luckily, it's a little cooler today. It's actually been overcast off and on, but still probably low 90s. But it is what it is. I'm thinking there's a lot of those sagebrush pockets like that through this area. I'm going to start working those and hope to turn something up before I have to turn around and head back in. Alright, since I mentioned it earlier that I was in basket maker pit house country, thought I'd find a good example and show you. So they lived in these round houses. They were fairly small, and they would have had probably a thatched roof of some sort. This one's actually smaller than most, but that's pretty. And then if you look right here, right on top, broken point. No? Hard to tell if it had a stem on it or not, but there's a point right there in the middle of that. So that is a basket maker house. That predates the Anasazi and the Pueblo. You don't see any pottery here, which is why they're called basket makers. All that they had was baskets, except for toward the end, you'll see right here, they did have some crude grayware, but you don't ever see anything fancy, anything painted. When it's just strictly a basket maker location, which this one is. Anyway, thought I'd show you that. Lots of those in this area. Probably the most I've ever seen. I could probably come on to probably 15 of these today. Man, I'm about 10 years late on this hike. It looks like everything looks like this. Just old. But all kinds of sign in here. There's got to be some fresh stuff. Keep moving. Well, just in case you have some interest in what I was talking about earlier with that point earlier today, I was thinking that it might be a Bajada. I was mistaken that the Bajada is actually late archaic, which would make it 5,200 to 6,800 years old. But I don't think it's that. What I thought it was that it was a Bajada stem that had just been worked so much, had been used so much that the ears, I've got a few Bajadas that I found in Arizona where they just get worked, resharpened so many times that you lose the shoulders there, like on this one here. But the flaking's not quite right, and Bajada doesn't typically have real nice flaking. Now I'll put a couple still pictures of that point that I took while I was out there and show you why I think it was probably a plain view. Now these are really nice examples of plain views. The one that I found was sharpened and used up quite a bit, but plain view is a late paleo point between 9 and 10,000 like I was thinking. But it's a medium to large size thin lanceolate point. Blade edges can be parallel to slightly convex. Flaking is high quality, like this one had, and is usually parallel to collateral. So this one had the parallel flaking. Basal edges are concave, slightly concave to recurved, so the bottom, meaning that the base is typically concave like this. That's the basal edge. and are well thinned. And that one has, when I show you the picture, you'll be able to see it has multiple thinning strikes to thin the base. And then it also says here, note, Plainview has become a generic catch-all name for any unfluted lanceolate. It's also one of the most common forms replicated by nappers. Caution should be exercised when purchasing them. So I think that was a Plainview. And I was right on its age, if that's what it is, and I'm fairly confident it is 9,000 to 10,000 years old. There you go.